Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just want to do a quick commentary on some things that are happening in the news with Ravi Zacharias. It's not really that important of a lesson, but just to kind of share a little bit about my journey, personalize some things. This is a minister, an apologist, who's written, famous books. One of them is called Jesus Among Other Gods. An apologist is somebody who defends a particular stance. And so, like, a ball earth apologist will be all these government shills and trolls that go up against us. He was like a Christian, evangelical apologist, and he was an itinerant minister, which means that he travels, like around the world, everywhere on flat earth to, give people more and more confidence in the Bible and then equip people on how to defend it against atheists. He's been accused, like in the last 5 or 6, 7 years, of, inappropriate, sexual conduct, sexting and phone sex and all this kind of stuff with like this woman who's married. He, I guess, denied it. And then, there's an open letter that I just read, online of her and her husband, writing to the ministry, explaining it, detail, like this happened this day, next day. It's like literally like chronological and very detailed. I don't believe anything, obviously, that I don't experience myself these days, but, it looks like it's a credible sort of accusation. And then, nothing happened physically between them two, but obviously not appropriate for somebody, catering towards the evangelicals who are, doing that stuff, but like not very forgiving when other people do it. And so, it is funny because they're all actors and Satanists. But, that was one thing. And then I guess that stuff sort of got quieted a little bit through the legal channels. And then more recently, he's been accused, and I think the ministry admitted to it, that, he was involved with misconduct with other women in a spa that he was like a part owner of and stuff like that. And so, like weird stuff, and that kind of thing. It's not simply just, affairs and all that, which is one thing, but I think it was like exposing himself and all this kind of stuff. So it's like, it's off, like odd things. And so first and foremost, my stance is what the Bible says. It's not wrong for a man to have multiple women, like that's not wrong at all. And so the stuff that Paul's writing talks about, one man, one woman and all that, is God is using Paul's time and his ministry to segue the church, hopefully we're a part of it, to the time that we live in now, where God's laws cannot be honored, because the prophecy is for a beast to run, the entire earth in the end times. And so, it has to be consolidated, and this is why Jesus even says that the law is summarized by love your neighbor and love God. It's because doing all the laws, the hundreds of them, you can't. And a lot of Israelites don't even know that they're Israelites. And so, hopefully many of them are waking up every day, but much less like doing the law and then being taught by somebody on earth who's actually doing it properly and all that. So it's impossible. And so that's what God is using Paul for and all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't mean that God changes his mind, about that being fine. It's like, it's not right to lie, or something like that, but it's not wrong for a man, if he so chooses and is upfront with women, that, he's with many women or something. It's just wrong when that woman is married, like this woman was that accused him of these things. And then, assuming that it was a sort of spiritual mentorship taking place when it was like a bait and switch, kind of thing. And all that kind of stuff. And so, I've known him in a sense personally, because he spoke at my wedding, because I was married for a very brief time to one of his past employees. And just kind of me reflecting on that time in my life, it literally feels like hundreds of years ago, and it was really only 10 or 12 years ago. But it makes sense, like kind of what was going on with her was like, I could just sense that she didn't like her job. And a lot of us don't like our job. And definitely, the ones that I've had, I don't. And so it's not unusual, but you would think like a Christian place would be the best place to work ever. Because you're like, oh my gosh, like they're the most forgiving, they're going to be more flexible. They're going to be, encouraging, fair and all that kind of stuff, but it's the complete opposite. I think we all know this, obviously, now that the Christian church is completely evil. And so, it was strange, because I'm like, well, wait, if you're a Christian and you're working for one of the most well-known Christian people, you'd be like, well, that's like pretty much as good as it gets, right? And then you go and get to teach other people things that are true, and be like, oh, okay, well, that's great. It's like, so it's like literally somebody coming here and paying me or anybody to go and teach people about the flat earth, and like how to defend it. I'll be like, great, sign me up. I'd do that. I mean, I obviously do that for free, but I mean, if that was a job, that's amazing. And so the only people that have that job are people that work for the government for good reason, and we see that. But one would think, it's like the greatest thing. But, just from a conversation with her and kind of behind the scenes, it makes more sense that he has to cater to his audience, and I've been to one of his founders events, and like, it's just like a sea of like 120-year-old, 180-year-old evangelicals. Like they're just like the last breath in their body kind of thing. They're just old and stupid, kind of like Biden, basically. And, like those kind of people, and so like whatever they want, that's what he has to teach. And so, he's not going to teach, obviously, like the earth is flat and stationary or America's Mystery Babylon or anything like that. Certainly not that Christ is dark skinned or anything like that. But, he has to cater to that audience. And so he's just an actor. But, it's just kind of interesting for me, having this information and then piecing, together my own intersection with him and his ministry. It makes a lot of sense. It's like, it makes sense why she wanted out, of that job and then that company, because first of all, she was teaching things that I think she knew deep down were not true, and she couldn't prove it or had any conviction behind it. And, the company structure was evil, and so I'm assuming she probably traveled with him, once in a while, and then that kind of thing. And I don't want to know, I really don't want to know if she encountered any of that weirdness herself. But it's kind of amazing to me now just seeing Christianity crumble like literally right before our eyes. And the flat earth is an absolute knockout blow. I mean, you just literally, all of Ravi's ministry or anybody's ministry who's a quote unquote apologist can be solved by just staring at a building. Just be like, does that building move? Yes or no? And if it does, then the Bible is garbage, hogwash. If it doesn't, then the Bible's, what else is there to compete with it? It's the God of the Bible says that he's not able to lie. And so he says that these buildings don't move. And he even says that he made the whole structure. And so then you don't need a ministry or debate with atheists and all that kind of stuff. You just say these buildings are obviously not moving, right? And then the person's like, right. And then, okay. So then there you go. Atheism's gone and that kind of thing. And so, because it relies on the Big Bang and the spinning ball earth and all that kind of stuff. And we can do that with other people as well, not just Ravi and these evangelicals, but like, your everyday family member or whatever. And then, the Hebrews, a lot of them are spinning ball earthers and all that kind of stuff. So his entire ministry is obviously a complete fraud. And I actually reached out to him and I posted the video on that to his ministry about while he was here and alive. He's actually passed away fairly recently of cancer. And then I got, the usual PR response, oh no, Ravi, trust the science and all that kind of stuff. And so he's just part of the system. But, it's an amazing lesson, for sure. And it's very humbling for me. And I'm very thankful that the truth is designed that way, is that it's not popular. It's definitely not popular with women. So if you're out there saying whatever, and there's a lot of women around you, that's a bad thing. Just fundamentally, it's horrifying. Then I'll be like, oh, snap. Like, I'm not teaching what I should be. And then not just women. If you have a lot of people around you, that's also horrifying. But definitely women, because women are a big part of all the evil that's on the earth right now. And so evil was infused into this world by Satan, who God put in the garden. But, first through Eve, just falling for it. And then just telling, her husband to just whatever, go along with it. And that's the same thing that's going to happen now, except instead of an apple, there's a needle or a chip or whatever, person thinks is the mark of the beast that has to go in the body. It's the same thing. And so women are very, very crucial to Satan's objectives, and narratives that God puts forth for him to do and enact and all that kind of stuff. And so, just know that. And so this is the good thing, I would say, for people. It's like, if you're single and you're like a quote truther and like women don't want to hear it or like, don't want to hear anything that you have to say, that's good. Just know that. And so the further people get away from you, either you're just teaching complete nonsense, or you're teaching something incredibly true. And then just, it's good. Just go away and all that kind of stuff. It's like, if I knew even half the things, if I knew even one of the things that I know now, back in that time, that girl wouldn't be like, she'd be like, what are you talking about? She'd be like, bye, and all that kind of stuff. And so, that's why I'm pretty sure that these truths have to come to us in staggered, because we couldn't live with it. Because like, if I knew that, these buildings obviously don't move, and then like a majority of the world does, I couldn't like hide that. I wouldn't like pretend and all that kind of stuff. Like, I would probably for a little while, but then I'll be like, well, this is stupid and all that, like I'm doing now, like a lot of people are. And so, just know that, and then so he's just an actor, and then he's down, who cares? People are like, oh, I still respect his teaching. Really? You still respect this person's teaching? They're so shilling for this guy. He's dead, did all this disgusting stuff and all that kind of stuff. And then claims to be this like minister. And it's funny, he spoke at my wedding and he's like lecturing me. I wish I had this whole thing recorded. It would have been funny to like play it back now. He's like, kind of telling me like how I need to be the leader and like all this stuff. I'm like, shut up, dude. Like, if I knew this now, like I literally get up and start talking back to him and all that kind of stuff. But it's cool. All these things are being uncovered, and like it's just it's a good warning and heads up for us that, if there was ever a time in my life or anybody's life where they're like, oh man, it would be cool if I was like a famous singer, or like a politician or an athlete or something, you don't want that. I do not, obviously. And so now I know more than ever, you don't want very many people around you. You just don't, and I don't, and that's good. And so the more people around you, the more likely they're having conversations and stuff that's just stupid and just flat out evil and all that kind of stuff. And so for all of us who are like flat earthers and America's mystery Babyloners and Christ's dark skinners and all that kind of stuff, like just wear that like a shield, and just wear it. I'm just proud of it, and obviously you don't have to share it with people who are not going to accept it. Like Christ says, don't cast your pearls before swine. But, don't be ashamed of it, and this is a lecture to myself, really, that the nice thing about the truth is that it isolates you. And the Bible says that's its purpose. Come out of her, my people. Don't be partakers of those sins. And so that's what is needed. And then the only way that a person would want to do that is to be involved in truth, and so literally think of like truth as like a coating around your body, and you're in this like flat dome, and then it literally like isolates us, like think of it chemically, and like kind of like protects us, and all that kind of stuff, and make sure that nobody wants to be around us, and all that kind of stuff. And then that's amazing, and we should be very, very happy that that is the case, because there will be no temptation of any of this kind of stuff to happen, because like if you mention to 99.999% of the women on this earth that the earth is flat station, they'll run. They'll literally just be like, bye. Okay. This person's unstable and all that kind of stuff, and ill, mentally ill and all that kind of stuff. Bye. So no chance for any like, sexting or, whatever was going on, all that kind of stuff. Like, that's the magic anti-love potion, and so just be like, that's great, because you shouldn't want to be with a woman if you have to lie, and again, this is a lecture to myself, because like I still sometimes like just strictly out of boredom, I'm like, well, I don't know what I'll do like if I don't date or like try and kind of put myself out there, because it's just kind of boring. I can golf and obviously read the Bible, which is a good thing, and I'm going to be posting a lesson on Book of Genesis, but I mean, you can't literally do that, I don't think, 24/7. Maybe that is the expectation. But, now it's getting to the point for me personally, where it's like, it's just the lies that I have to say are so flamboyant and so evil, just to have like a conversation with like a woman that I'm courting or whatever. It's like, it's just bad, it's just boring and it's evil and all that kind of stuff. And so, I'm just thankful for it, that that's the case, that, at least I know, I kind of see, the trap, I guess, or the deception and the evil. And if I take part in it, it's like willful, it's like what I decided and all that. But I don't know, to me, like, it's painful, like this sounds so bad, but like I'll sometimes like talk to a girl and like I'll just like hang up, in the middle of the conversation, because like I don't even know, like I just run out of words. And it sounds so bad, but like I don't know what else to say, and I just get so guilty, and like just feel so evil and stupid that I'm like, nah, I can't even say another word. and that kind of thing. And so, this is just the way it is, the way that this system is. And I'm very thankful for it, because I would never want to be a person like Ravi who thinks that he's like teaching truth when he's just teaching nonsense. And then, in an environment where, let's say he was teaching the truth, like, it's very unforgiving, like if you did that and you like really like felt bad about it, like they're like, no, hell no. Like all your money's gone, and so they'll take away all of his funding, all the donors will be poof, all those 180-year-old Joe Biden's gone, and all that kind of stuff. And so just know that. And so that's again proves that even in the beast system, you have to lie to stay there. Obviously we do too. And so that's why, again, I know that, that this has to be the end times, because God's elect hate lies. And so, unless they're all just out of this network, which I don't see how that's possible, well, what's the point of it then? Then maybe they don't. But, Ravi has to lie. And they have to lie even more because even something like way more like lighter than that, all of his funding would dry up, and then his corporation, which is what it is, would be like, it would just evaporate. And so, you're forced to lie, and if you tell the truth to like even just people in your family, your friends, whatever, they're going to go away. They're going to be weirded out. Oh, you believe God exists? No, we know God exists. And so they'll be like, what are you talking about? Well, these buildings don't move. And they'll be like, oh, okay, I got to go. Bye. And then all that kind of stuff. And then those people that hang around, then you just have to tell them another couple things and they'll be like, okay, I got to go. And so like, there's going to be no one left, literally. And so again, I just be excited by that. And that's a gift, that has to be a gift from God, because he wants truth to be an isolating agent for his people, and that doesn't mean we are, but we have a chance, and all that. So, spray that everywhere, and again, this is a lecture to myself just to post this and have it as a record. But, that's what it is, and that's why, again, I'm pretty sure that we're in the last days, because you can't function in this world even with like one of the truths, like that we know now that are obvious in the Bible, and much less, like all of them working together simultaneously. And so, that to me is very clear, and it's like, it would be shocker to me that these are just coming out at this time just by coincidence, and like, okay, we receive them and like we all die, we all just lose, I guess. And so it's possible, I don't know the future, obviously, but that's still a possibility. I would be, and it's not arrogant for me, it's just that these truths are kind of obvious. And so, that's the way it is, and so I think that, all of Christianity can be debunked easily, and then all of the Hebrews can be debunked easily, and then all the other religions can be debunked with the same stuff. And so if you basically know that the earth is flat and stationary, or just even the earth is stationary, because that's just easy to prove, and because we haven't surveyed the entire flat earth, but if the earth doesn't move, you get that as a corollary for free, that the earth is flat. It has to be. Nothing works in the gravitational model with a stationary earth. And then if you know, or just show any Christian all the 54 verses that support that hell is physical, they're going to run. And so all the other religions, they won't care. It's like, whatever, that's just the Bible. Okay, whatever. Interesting book or whatever. Christ didn't actually hang on the cross. It's metaphoric, or he's one of like a trillion gods in Hinduism or whatever. And so, you pretty much just with those two truths, everybody just goes away. And so that's not even all of them, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm talking about even these people who claim to be close to God, they'll run away too. You give them one of those two, like, nope, time to go, and all that kind of stuff. And so this is an exciting time, where God's truths are very, very obvious. And, it has to be, or else it'd be hard to like cling to them, the way that we do, because, the world does not allow it, like even a whiff of any of those two, the world doesn't allow it. But I would just say for people, and this, again, a lecture to myself, last thing I'll say is be proud, be proud of those truths, because they're obvious, and then the only way they would come is from God, because no one else teaches them here. Where else is that coming from? Who else is going to teach you that the earth is flat, stationary, and that this is hell except God? And then, like it says in Revelation 18:4, a voice comes from heaven saying, once you know those two things, come out of her, my people. Don't be partakers of her sins. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.